Hi, this is Preeti. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are staying safe and doing well. Now, I know that I've been missing for quite some time, but I promise this time it's with good reason. I really wanted to spend some time alone with Taksh. Yes, that's what we've named him, Taksh Vardhan Singh Chauhan. I know it sounds pretty heavy. He's about a year old now and literally the best thing that could have ever happened to me. I know what you all have been waiting for, so let's jump into my birthing story with details of labor pain, water break, epidural, the final push, as well as our brush with the NICU.
Just take my hand, it's all the plan, it's all the plan.
To be very honest, throughout my pregnancy, I've never given much thought to labor or the actual process of giving birth, except as a concept for my reels. I've always just blindly jumped into any difficult situation with the belief that it'll all work out in the end. So when my doctor did an internal exam, which is so painful by the way, and told me that I was 2 centimeters dilated and everything looked good, which meant that normal delivery was possible, honestly, I was quite relieved. Since you hear stories all the time about private hospitals pushing you towards a C-section, and right then and there, I decided not to talk to anybody about the pains or labor or anything involved regarding the delivery, since I did not want to back out. Knowing my pain tolerance and the amount of tears I shed during my normal period cramps, when the doctor asked me about my birthing plan and if I wanted to opt for an epidural, which is an injection which reduces the pain of labor pain significantly, I said yes. Absolutely 100% yes. Although epidural does come with certain risks which you may want to discuss with your doctor. So after my initial examination, my doctor told me that I was due any day now and should expect either labor pains or water break, but I didn't experience either. So on my next visit, she told me that my amniotic fluid was low and I was to be induced the very next day, 17th November. The next day, we reached the hospital at 6 a.m. and I was given a pill to induce labor. Along with this, I was also asked to exercise like squats, bouncing on a ball, etc. And I did all of this quite diligently. But even then, the pains did not start and nor did my water break. The doctor then had to intervene and break my water. With that, I started to feel the first contractions, which only increased and intensified with time. Now, how do contractions feel? Similar to period cramps, but much more intense. In the beginning, the interval between 2 contractions are long, like you feel pain every 10 minutes. Then slowly the intervals start to reduce and you start to feel pain every 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 minutes, and the pain just keeps increasing. By the time I reached 4 centimeters dilation, I begged for an epidural and thankfully the doctor administered it. And in half an hour, I was smiling again, which would have been impossible if you were there at the hospital witnessing me. I could still feel the contractions, but the pain was significantly reduced. In fact, it almost felt painless. But the scariest thing about labor is the sound of other women screaming across the birthing floor. Although we had a private room, but every time a nurse would enter through the door, I could hear all the screams and a sense of panic would set in and I would immediately start crying. A little tip here: please carry earphones and listen to your favorite music while you wait to reach 10 centimeters dilation. The next thing I knew was that I quickly progressed to 10 centimeters dilation and my labor lasted only 4 to 5 hours. My doctor and I were both quite happy that, I had an easy labor and my exercise routine throughout my pregnancy worked out, but now it was time to push. Well, the easy part ends here. What happened next was something none of us could have anticipated. When I reached 10 centimeter dilation, my doctor put me off the epidural since you need to be able to feel the push. Another tip here to all the pregnant women: please learn everything there is to know about pushing a baby out in terms of breathing technique, the position, etc. Because I jumped into it blindly and things did not go according to plan. You are asked to push when there is a contraction. So I started to push, but maybe I wasn't pushing hard enough, I guess. I just couldn't get my baby out. With all that was happening, my baby's heart rate started to fall and he was under distress. I was given oxygen and there was literally a nurse sitting on me applying fundal pressure. I knew I had to give it my all and push no matter what. After what seemed like an eternity, Taksh was born. But I did not hear him cry and my heart sank. In my entire life, I've never felt what I felt at that moment. I was so scared. It's so hard to even describe it. The pediatrician checked him and told us that everything looks fine, but his breathing was too fast since he was under a lot of distress, and that he needs to be taken to the NICU where he will be given oxygen and put under observation for about 24 hours. All I heard was NICU and oxygen and I was inconsolable. I just couldn't come to terms with it. So before they transferred him to the NICU, they gave Taksh to me just for a couple of seconds, and that's when this photograph was taken. This photograph is Taksh's first photograph and he was given to me only for a few seconds, and that's when my husband managed to capture this photo. Yes, my husband was with me throughout my labor, throughout the delivery, throughout the whole process. It's still unbelievable to me that when I looked at Taksh and said hi, he literally looked at my face and smiled. I will never forget that feeling. After this photograph, they transferred him to the NICU. Now, the doctor told me that everything will be fine. But you know, at this point of time, you tend to not believe anybody. All I could think about was that my baby had to spend his first night of existence in an NICU. The night was long and seemed to never end. I kept pestering my husband to go visit him in the NICU. But after a while, he wasn't allowed, since, you know, NICU is supposed to be a sterile environment and constant visitation would have compromised that. I don't think we slept even for a single second that night. I had just been through labor, exhausted like I had never been before, but I just couldn't get myself to sleep. Although now that I think about it, I should have gotten some sleep. Because once you're a mom, sleep is not your friend. I don't think in the last whole 1 year of being a mom, if I've even slept for 4 continuous hours. Don't worry, the gloominess of this post ends here. The next morning, the pediatrician told us that he was completely fine and ready to be discharged. They didn't even have to wait for 24 hours. He was finally in my arms. Taksh gave us quite the scare, but in the end, he was alright, and that's all that matters. And before I forget, you get stitches even if you do a normal delivery, but just not on your stomach. It's called an episiotomy. I swear I had no idea, but given the situation that I was in, I couldn't really care less. And that concludes the story of how our beautiful boy came into being. And by the way, he's on me. Yay! With that, I'd like to end this video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.